you're working, it turns into blue. Then you fill up required information base. It's not that many information you have. You have a filing information in the top. One second. Okay, filing information on the top, and the reporting company. Reporting company is the one, your company's name. And your company applicant, you put the EIN number there, and company applicant, that's you and other partners. And beneficial owners are all the partners' name. Once you do, you put the click submit. And don't worry about if you miss something, because it will tell you unless it's completely done, it will tell you that it's not complete. You go back and fix it. Uh, the error information comes in like you are missing in filing information, or you are missing in a reporting company. So you just look what the word they are saying and click on the top and go fix this one. Basically, mostly this is like a name and address is not working. Those are the things. It's very simple. So the most of the time I get the questions and what type of filing I should do. Okay, it is a initial report, since this is the first time we're doing it. But if you are correcting like prior reports, then you can go ahead and pick that one, and then it will let you go the different uh, website. Then you can change it what you have. But initial for this year, I believe everybody will have initial report. And then you follow this one is and you upload there's a place comes in, you upload your driving license, and you need to write down the driving license number also. And it's a little intrusive. Sometimes we worry about, well, if I'm giving all the information to the government. And that's why the lawsuit was, because the people said government is asking for too much information. That's not the federal government's job. The judge said, no, this is a legitimate concern of the government for the terror financing or financial crime. So we need to know who's opening a company in the United States. And that's the reason they collected this information. And this is a one-time deal until you have a partnership change. Once you change in partners, then you go ahead and change it again. Okay, so what happens to non-filers? This is one of the issue. Looks very simple to file. You don't have to pay anything, or you do need to file it. And I looked at it. Okay, so what's the thing if you don't file it? Well, they have a penalty. Okay, this is so that makes it serious. Like, okay, and the government says it's a 500 per day. So now it's a $591. I looked at it just yesterday, and that's this accumulates a lot. This is simply we can avoid just taking inventory. How many companies you have? Each of them file it, and you're done with it, because there's no reason for anybody to pay a penalty for not filing. And this is also one of the reason our Chamber of Commerce is organizing this webinar, because you might have missed it. A lot of confusing information came in before. So you don't have to file it. Now you have to file it. The initial deadline was December 31st. Then they added to January 10th. Then it permanently hold. Now what are you gonna do? Then everybody just moved on. But it came back. So please, if you know anybody, if you already filed it, just go ahead and file it. If you know anybody who talked about it and forgot about it, or somebody she was told that you don't have to file it now, you do have to file it. It just information came in the 18th. Today is the 23rd. So it's just 5 days ago. They said you have to file it. So there is a penalty, and even they added is this criminal penalty and $10,000 fine, and all the way up to imprisonment. And, nobody will think this is gonna happen, but you never know. When there's in a book crime penalties, it's not up to us to decide whether they will implement that penalty or not. So let's file everybody, and I will request all your viewers and chamber members just tell other people, hey, now you need to start time to file it. Please go ahead and file it. So it's not like everybody has to file it. It's an exemption. That's why and this is also the more important thing. When we hear the word exemption, oh, maybe I'm exempt. No, you're not exempt. To be exempt, there's a 3 criteria. And this is not like a or, this is and, which means that all 3 criteria has to met. So you need to have at least 20 full-time employees, more than 5 million gross revenue. And these are and okay, because and also and an operating presence in physically in United States. So if you have all three, then you don't need to file it. Otherwise, you do need to file it. So these are the things of the BOI reporting. And end of the after I go to the updates and the tax updates, I would answer the questions if you have on these issues. So let me move over to this because this is it's critical, but it's very simple. So let's get it done. We have 30 days to file it. So let's move on to the updates that I got some typical updates, tax updates for this year. Like I said before, there was a major tax change happening in 2017. That time, a lot of items we knew for last 20, 30, 40 years just vanished. They took it away. They rescinded the order. And but this year, thankfully, nothing had changed from prior year other than the amount. So if you're wondering where do you fall into the bracket, because this is the time to file a tax, and some of them you might have to pay taxes, some might not. So this is a typical. I got this table from IRS website, and what is your tax rate gonna be depends upon where your income falls into it. But I just wanted to make sure when you use this one to calculate, like in it's a 22%. If your income is 47,000, it's not to between this amount, it's not like all the money is taxed on the 22%. First you taxed up to this one, the 10% rate. Then it goes to the 12% from between this one. Then only above 47,000 will be taxed on 22%. And this is the reason I said that because a lot of time I get a call, hey, my income is 100,000, so am I getting taxed for 24%? No. So first you exhaust this first part, then you exhaust to the second rate, then you exhaust to the third rate, only then the remaining would be taxed on the 24%. Same thing goes with there are like our seven brackets. So this is, but it will help you estimate how much you're going to owe this year. So you can prepare for pay when the tax filing deadline, April 15 comes in. And there's another one is capital gain. This is our chamber members are business people, so there's always a question comes in how much capital gain I need to pay, and there's a general assumption is which is error is everything is 15%. After 2018 there's a three bracket, and depending on your situations you pay capital gain tax based on that. If you like I said, like in a standard tax, capital gain also, you only taxed 20% for anything above 518,000. So from 47 to 518,000, you tax in 15%. So this is how it's called in a tier system it goes in. The same thing like a normal tax. And keep in mind that this rate is for the long-term capital gain. And short-term capital gain is always as has been taxed as a regular income rate. So depending on your situations. And there's another questions I get all the time now, even this year is, am I buying Tesla? Am I getting credit 7,500 this year too? Or yes, So there was a talk about canceling, but the government hasn't canceled yet. So you will get 7,500 credit. But there's always a but because your income level. Many times we forget when you go to Tesla or any EV places, they'll say, "Oh, you get 7,500 credit," but they don't know what your income situation is. If your income is higher, forget it. You don't get anything. And many people now 150,000 because of the inflations is not that much money for a joint 500 husband and wife. So so it is before you buy and thinking you're gonna get a lot of money, just think it twice. And if you're a single person, yours is $75,000. If you make more than that, you don't get it. And also, sometimes people, kids buy it, and if you're still a dependent on you. So if the kids is buying a Tesla, don't make him your dependent. It doesn't matter how much income they have, because the dependent cannot buy and take a credit. So EB credit is still there for 2024, and but you have to be careful based on your situation. And also some other smaller things I wanted to say for us business people. There's mileage is 67 cents. That's a lot of money. It used to be 56 and it's 64. Now it's 67, and which is good thing because it's almost like when you drive to that 20,000 mile, you're saving $10,000. In your expenses, most of the time you can even get $10,000 any item. So don't miss your mileage. To do that, I always tell, keep a record. And because if something happened, you should be able to prove it that you did drove that mileage. And there's another issue, child tax credit, which is still a $2,000, like last year. There was a talk before the election, if you remember, everybody wanted to increase to $3,000. I think that Trump also said 3,000. Um, Harris by VP Harris said $3,000. But election is over, nothing has been changed, and I think taxes already started. I don't expect anything to change other than $2,000. And also, some of you one change law was for the age. When if you remember, I don't know how many will be impacted by this. The earned income credit for who don't have any children or grown up, in your tax return. They changed the make sure it used to be like a 21 above a 21 years now, so you have to be 25 to 65 age. Only that time you are uh, get the earned income credit, even though you don't have any children. But the income is so low that maybe most of you won't be impacted by it. So having said that, these are the smaller changes this happened, and they were talking about now 2025 overhauling tax system again. But that will not impact our 2024 tax returns. So that topic is for another day. And if you have any questions, I'm here to answer it. If you take my phone number, I can answer that too. Thank you, Mr. Basel.
Thank you.
If there's a question, I'm here to answer it.
Sorry, the interruption here. Welcome. I saw a question. There's a question on our chat.
Okay, I see one question here. It says, are they just looking BOR is just reporting is to know who's owning the company, or they want to track business records and everything. It's both are possible. Right now, this current situation is now we are tech savvy people going into system and extracting data, amazing data. We heard the news, so we don't want to go over what. So every time when the government has a data, they can use for anything. That's why if you remember, not remember, if you have experienced that anytime when you sign something, they say under the perjury that I'm signing this document is true, best of my knowledge. That's also they make you sign it, even the simple document. You know, I don't know why we just don't even think and sign it. But whenever they feel like they're gonna go after you, they use that as like lying to the government. That's how they use it. So I'm I'm not being cynical. Yes, you're right. They could use for anything. And the pressure to the because of the new government, there's too much pressure to show some results. And that's where some of the victims, innocent people fall into the victim. And what so I will say yes, they could use it. We just have to be safe, whatever we do dealing with the government. You should never trust the government. I don't want to use that word, but you should be always careful, twice careful when you're dealing with the federal government, especially the federal government. And